She rated me 7.5. Right after I called her the most beautiful woman I'd ever dated, saying, "Why are you upset? 7.5 is good." I realized I wasn't her boyfriend, just a comparison project, then walked away. The next time she mentioned her ex, I did something I'm sitting here at 2:30 a.m. on my couch trying to figure out why a conversation from Thursday night has completely hijacked my brain. Maybe if I write this out, it'll help me process what the hell just happened to my relationship. Maya and I have been together 6 months. Not long in the grand scheme of things, but long enough that I thought we were solid. She's 25, works in social media marketing, and honestly, she's incredible. Smart, funny, gorgeous in this way that catches me off guard sometimes. These past months felt natural, easy, like we were building something real together. Thursday night we were having dinner at her apartment. Nothing fancy, just takeout from this Thai place we both love. Sitting on her couch watching some Netflix show neither of us were really paying attention to. The wine was good, the conversation was flowing, and I was feeling that comfortable intimacy you get when you're with someone you're really falling for. I don't even remember how we got onto the topic, but somehow we started talking about the most attractive person you've ever dated. You know how these conversations start, innocent, hypothetical, the kind of thing that sounds fun and playful until it absolutely isn't. I was feeling good, maybe a little wine confident from the bottle we'd been sharing, so I decided to be completely honest. Really honest. I told her something I'd been thinking but never really said out loud. You are. Like it's not even close. You're beautiful in ways I didn't even know I could be attracted to. And I meant every single word. Maya has this thing where she'll be doing something completely ordinary, making coffee, reading something on her phone, turning to look at something outside, and the light will hit her just right, and I literally forget what I was thinking about. I've never felt this physically drawn to someone before. Not just attracted, but like magnetized. She laughed when I said it. Not a mean laugh, just amused, like I'd said something cute but naive. Then, without even pausing to think about it, she said, "That's really sweet, Noah. But honestly, of everyone I've dated, Evan was probably a 9. You're more like a 7.5. Just like that. As casual as commenting on the weather or telling me what she thought about the pad thai. Still smiling like she'd just shared something amusing rather than completely devastating. I put my fork down and just sat there for a minute, trying to process what had just happened. It wasn't even about the number itself. I mean, 7.5 isn't terrible, right? It's above average. But something about the immediate comparison, the casual ranking system, the fact that she'd just reduced me to a score relative to her ex made me feel like I was being evaluated rather than loved. I got up and walked out to her balcony because I needed air and space to think. The city looked different from up there. All those lights that usually seemed warm and inviting now just felt distant and cold. She followed me out after maybe 2 minutes. "Are you seriously upset about this?" she asked, and there was this tone in her voice like I was being completely ridiculous. "I'm just processing," I said. "Noah, come on. You asked a question about attraction, and I answered honestly. I thought you'd appreciate that I don't lie to you or try to manage your feelings with fake reassurances. But here's what I can't shake. If you love someone, if you're genuinely excited about them, why is your immediate instinct to rank them below someone else? And why would you think that's something they'd want to hear, especially right after they've been vulnerable about how attracted they are to you? Maya's been texting me since Thursday asking why I'm being distant and weird. I was being honest with you. Why are you punishing me for telling the truth? But the more I think about it, the more I realize this isn't the first time she's brought up Evan in ways that sound admiring. She'll mention how confident he was, how he knew exactly what he wanted, how seriously he took his fitness routine, always in this tone that suggests she misses those qualities, like they're things I should aspire to. I asked her once why they broke up if he was so great, and she got vague about it. Something about him being too intense, and their communication not being great. But the way she talks about him doesn't sound like someone describing a failed relationship. It sounds like someone describing their gold standard, the benchmark everyone else gets measured against. I keep going back to that moment on the balcony, the way she looked at me like I was being irrational for feeling hurt. Like my reaction was the problem, not what she'd said. I feel like I'm losing my mind here. Maybe I am overreacting. Maybe this is just how she processes attraction, and I need to be more secure about it. Maybe I'm being too sensitive about something that was just meant to be honest conversation between partners. Or maybe the woman I'm falling for just told me I'll never measure up to her ex-boyfriend, and I'm supposed to smile and thank her for her refreshing honesty. The thing is, I can't stop thinking about the smile on her face when she said it. There was something almost satisfied about it, like she enjoyed watching my reaction to being ranked below someone else. Update 1. Last night, I finally worked up the nerve to sit Maya down for a serious conversation about the rating comment. I'd spent 2 days thinking about it, reading through all your responses, trying to figure out if I was actually overreacting or if my gut reaction was justified. I figured that with some time to process, maybe she'd realize how that came across, and we could work through this together. I was completely, utterly wrong. I tried to approach it calmly and maturely. I explained that I don't need her to lie to me or pretend I'm the hottest guy who ever lived. I'm a realist. I know I'm not Brad Pitt or whoever the current standard is, but I do need her to respect me enough not to casually rank me against her ex-boyfriend, especially right after I'd been vulnerable about how attracted I am to her specifically. I told her the timing felt deliberate and cruel, even if that wasn't her intention. Her immediate response: "You're being insecure." Not an apology. Not recognition that maybe timing and context matter when you're sharing your attraction rankings with your current partner. Just immediate dismissal of my feelings as a character flaw that I needed to work on. "I thought you were more secure than this," she continued. "Physical appearance isn't everything, Noah." Okay, sure. I can accept that physical attraction isn't the only thing that matters in a relationship. But then she kept talking, and this is where it got really weird and uncomfortable. Evan was just, he hit the gym consistently, really consistently, broad shoulders, really defined muscle definition. That's just my type physically, always has been. She said this like she was explaining why she preferred Italian food over Mexican. Casual, matter of fact, completely oblivious to how it might feel to hear your girlfriend describe in vivid detail exactly why her ex-boyfriend was more physically appealing than you are. "I've always been really attracted to that body type," she continued, warming to the topic in a way that made my stomach turn. "The whole athletic build thing, like when a guy really takes care of himself, really commits to fitness. It's just attractive." I'm sitting there listening to this, feeling like I'm in some kind of bizarro world where your girlfriend explaining why her ex was hotter than you counts as relationship advice. The level of detail was what really got me. She wasn't just saying he was more attractive, she was painting me a picture of exactly why, like she was describing her ideal man and I was supposed to take notes. I asked her the question that had been burning in my chest since Thursday night. "So why are you with me then?" "Because you're good to me. You're stable. You love me the right way." Good. Stable. The right way. Not because I'm crazy about you, or because you make my heart race, or because I think about you constantly. I'm the sensible choice, the safe bet, the relationship equivalent of choosing a reliable Honda over a flashy sports car, practical, economical, but nobody's getting excited about it. I called my sister Jenna after Maya left to give me space to think about things. Jenna's 28, has this way of cutting through bullshit that I really needed right then. She listened to the whole story without interrupting, then was quiet for a long minute. "Let me get this straight," she finally said. "She rated you below her ex when you were being vulnerable about your attraction to her. Then when you told her that hurt, she made it your problem for being insecure. And then she explained in detail exactly why her ex was more physically attractive than you are. That's exactly what happened. Noah, this isn't about you not measuring up to her ex-boyfriend. This is about you losing value in your own girlfriend's eyes. She's literally training you to accept being second place in your own relationship." That hit me like a truck, because when I really thought about it, I could see the pattern that had been developing over the past few months. Maya would say something that stung, I'd react to it naturally, and somehow I'd end up being the problem for being too sensitive, or insecure, or overthinking things. I'd end up apologizing for being hurt by something she said, instead of her taking any responsibility for her words. It was like I'd been slowly conditioned to accept that my emotional reactions were character flaws rather than reasonable responses to hurtful behavior. The more I talked it through with Jenna, the more I realized that Maya's honesty isn't really about transparency or building trust between us. It's about maintaining a specific power dynamic where I'm always slightly off balance, always trying to measure up, always grateful that she chose me despite my obvious shortcomings compared to what she could apparently have. She's keeping you insecure on purpose, Jenna said. Not devastated enough to leave, but never secure enough to stop trying to prove you're worthy of her attention. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about other times Maya had brought up Evan in ways that now seemed designed to make me feel inadequate. The comments about his confidence, his fitness routine, his ambition, how she'd mention these things not as ancient history, but as qualities she clearly valued and missed. And I started to wonder, if I'm such a downgrade, why is she with me? What does she get out of being with someone she considers a 7.5 when she had a 9? The answer that kept coming back to me was control. With a 9, she was probably the one feeling insecure, the one trying to measure up. With a 7.5, she gets to be the one with all the power. And the fucked up thing is, I'd been playing right into it. Every time she'd mention Evan's confidence or his commitment to fitness, I'd find myself at the gym the next day, pushing harder, trying to become more like this guy I'd never even met. Update 2. Yesterday, Maya asked me to help her find photos from our trip to Portland last month. Something about needing them for a work presentation about travel destinations or whatever her company does. She handed me her phone and told me to check her recent albums while she made us coffee. While scrolling through trying to find the Portland photos, I accidentally opened an older album from about a year ago. And there he was, Evan. Not just normal couple photos either, but what looked like admiration shots. Mirror selfies showing off his physique, candid shots of him working out. Some she'd clearly taken without him knowing just to capture his body from different angles. The album was labeled Summer 2023 and had never been deleted. There were probably 30 photos of him, and maybe 5 that actually looked like normal relationship pictures. It was like a highlight reel of everything she found attractive about him. I handed her the phone back and asked directly, "Why do you still have all these photos of Evan?" Her immediate response was to get defensive. "Those are from before we were together. Why are you going through my old photos?" I wasn't going through them on purpose. I was looking for our Portland trip like you asked, and I accidentally clicked the wrong album. Well, it's my phone. I can keep whatever photos I want on it. Then came the deflection tactics. You went through my photos without permission. You're invading my privacy. This is controlling behavior. The speed with which she flipped it around to make me the bad guy was actually impressive. Here I was, having discovered what amounts to a shrine to her ex-boyfriend's body, and suddenly I was the one violating boundaries. I called my best friend Caleb later that night. Caleb's 25, practical, hates drama but has good instincts about people and their motivations. "Dude," he said after I explained the whole situation, "she's making you the bad guy for having a completely normal reaction to finding tribute photos of her ex on her phone." That's when everything really clicked for me. Every single time Maya hurts my feelings or does something questionable, somehow I end up being the problem. I'm too insecure. I'm too sensitive. I'm overreacting. I'm being controlling. She never has to take responsibility for her actions because I'm always too busy defending myself against her character assessments of me. I've been apologizing for being hurt by things that would hurt literally anyone in a committed relationship. I thought back to other times over the past few months when I'd tried to set reasonable boundaries or express discomfort with her behavior. Like when I asked her not to bring up Evan in positive contexts anymore because it made me feel like I was constantly being compared to him. Her response? "You're being controlling. I should be able to talk about my past." Or when I mentioned that constantly being compared to him made me feel like I was competing with a ghost for her attention. "That's your insecurity talking. I can't help how you interpret things." Every single time, my reasonable request became evidence of my character flaws. My hurt feelings became proof of my inadequacy as a partner. So last night I sat her down and laid out some clear boundaries. No more comparing me to her ex, period. No more rating or ranking our physical appearances like we're contestants in some kind of relationship game show. If she's still hung up on Evan, she needs to be honest about that so we can end this before it gets any worse. Maya was quiet for a really long time. Then she said something that made my blood absolutely freeze. I thought you were the type of man who was confident enough not to need to be number one all the time. Let that sink in for a second. According to Maya, wanting to feel desired by my girlfriend means I'm not confident enough. Expecting not to be ranked below her ex-boyfriend means I need to be number one all the time. She's literally telling me that my problem isn't her behavior. It's my expectation that she should make me feel valued in our relationship. I finally understand what's been happening here. Maya's honesty isn't about being real with me or building genuine intimacy. It's about maintaining a relationship where she holds all the power, where I'm constantly trying to earn her approval, where I'm grateful for her attention despite being clearly inferior to what she actually wants. The rating comment wasn't accidental cruelty or thoughtless honesty. It was strategic. Keep me insecure enough to try harder, but not devastated enough to walk away entirely. The photos of Evan aren't just sentimental keepsakes from a past relationship. They're reminders of what she considers her standard, what I'm supposed to aspire to but will never actually achieve. And the way she flips everything around to make me the problem? That's not defensiveness or poor communication skills. That's calculated manipulation to avoid ever having to account for her behavior. I realized something else that night. I've been auditioning for this woman's approval for months. Every compliment she gives me feels earned rather than natural. Every moment of affection feels conditional on my performance as her boyfriend. That's not love. That's employment. Final update. I ended it with Maya this afternoon. Clean, simple, no dramatic speeches or long explanations. Just a clear statement of what I'd figured out and what I was going to do about it. I realized something over the past week that changed everything. I don't want to spend my life in a relationship where I have to earn basic respect instead of just receiving it. When I told her we were done, I kept it straightforward. I don't want to be in a relationship where I'm constantly being evaluated and ranked against other people. That's not love. That's competition, and I'm not interested in competing for someone's affection anymore. Maya immediately tried to backtrack and minimize everything. I was just being honest with you. I still chose you, didn't I? Doesn't that count for something? But that word, chose, really captured the entire problem with our relationship. She didn't choose me because she was excited about me or because I made her feel amazing. She chose me because I was acceptable enough while being grateful enough to put up with being treated like the consolation prize. You didn't choose me, I told her. You chose having power over someone who'd accept being ranked below your ex-boyfriend. The last few weeks have been a masterclass in how someone can make you feel completely insane for having normal reactions to abnormal treatment. Maya's honesty was never about transparency or building trust. It was about maintaining control. Keep me just insecure enough to try harder, just grateful enough to accept less than I deserve. We exchanged belongings today without much drama. She tried one more time as I was loading the last box into my car. You're making a mistake, Noah. I do love you. Maybe she does, in whatever way she's capable of. But I finally understand that love without respect is just manipulation with feelings attached. Here's what I learned from this whole experience. The right person won't make you feel like you're constantly auditioning for their affection. They won't use honesty as a weapon to keep you off balance. They'll just be excited about you, the way you are, without requiring you to compete with ghosts from their past. It's been a few hours since our final conversation, and honestly, I feel lighter than I have in weeks. I forgot what it felt like not to constantly wonder if I was measuring up to some impossible standard. 3 weeks ago, Maya texted, "I miss you. I think I made a mistake." I didn't respond, but it got me thinking about what actually killed our relationship. It wasn't the 7.5 rating. That was just the moment I finally heard what she'd been saying to me all along. Maya never saw me as someone to celebrate. I was someone to manage, to keep just insecure enough to stay grateful for whatever attention she gave me. I'm seeing someone new now. Jess doesn't rate people because she doesn't see relationships as competitions. When I told her this whole story, her response was simple. Why would anyone want to make the person they love feel small? That's the difference between being chosen and being settled for.